Hey guys, what's going on? Today is Wednesday, May the 2nd. It's hump day. I hope that you've had a great week up to this point. We're closer to the summer, closer to graduation, so make today count, as we always talk about. Hey, listen, today I want to talk to you about the word civility. By definition, civility means just being polite, being kind, being courteous in conversation, behavior, or speech. And as a high school teacher, I see all the time, I see kids in today's generation, they have no concept of being civil. What's interesting is, I think a lot of that comes from the fact that all of the communication for teenagers today, it's all electronic. And as a result, they don't have the verbal skills in order to communicate with somebody, especially when they have an argument, when they disagree. But see, one of the things you'll learn in life, we're still responsible for how we act and what we say, even when we're mad. But it just seems like, if I have a situation with a kid in the Commons, and I have to go and I have to address that child, what I've learned is if I bring that child into my office and shut the door and have a face-to-face conversation, and I separate the behavior from the kid, and I say, hey, listen, I love you, but I'm disappointed in what you did. I have a much better chance of getting through to that kid than if I go out and I address him in front of his peers, because I promise you this, they're not going to lose credibility with the kids in their group. But it's just disturbing the number of times, and listening to teachers and listening to administrators, where parents, adults, even kids now are so disrespectful and use profanity directed toward adults. And remember now, somebody uses profanity simply because their vocabulary is so limited that they can't express their thoughts using appropriate language. But the lack of being respectful to teachers is just out of this world. And sometimes I really struggle with that, because you know what? When you talk about education, you talk about teachers, you talk about coaches. Billy Graham said, the most influential person in America today is a high school teacher and a high school coach. Think about that. Think about the time that your child or your teacher spend with you, and see what most people don't realize. Teachers today spend more time with everyone else's child and taking care of everybody else's kid than they do the members of their own family. But the first time something goes wrong, parents come in and man, they blow the teacher out of the water. It's amazing. When I was a kid and I got into trouble, now I went to Horn Lake Middle School, and there was a lady there, Miss Sublett, and she had a paddle, and that paddle was made out of fiberglass, and she had drilled holes in it. And I promise you, when she hit you, you knew you were in trouble. But when I got home and my parents knew that I had gotten paddled by Miss Sublett, there wasn't an explanation. There wasn't an excuse. If I got 3 licks by Miss Sublett, I got 6 licks when I got home. And see what happens today. Every parent, every kid wants to go to a school that has discipline until the discipline falls on the shoulders of their kid, and then they want to go point the finger at the teacher. Man, would our society be a better place if the teacher was held in respect and respected by the kids and the parents. Some of the things kids say to teachers today, it's unheard of. And so I hope that you understand, being respectful is so important. Saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am is so important. Being respectful to your parents is so important. You see, you tell your parents, you act like a certain way that your parent, everything's good, until your parents don't give you the answer that you want. And then when you disagree with your parents, you go off on them. You go bonkers on them. Well, I can assure you, there's nobody in your life ever going to love you more than your parents, ever. And so I hope that you would have the ability to communicate with your parents in a respectful way. And sometimes you're not always going to agree with your parents. But boy, did my life get easier when I decided to say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir to my mom and dad, and everything else was smooth sailing after that. So we've talked about teachers, we've talked about parents. The other thing is law enforcement. I'm shocked sometimes when I see or read or hear about stories with law enforcement. There are some bad cops, there's some bad teachers, there's some bad people, there's some bad pastors, but 99.9% of the law enforcement officers that you're going to come in contact with, they're in it for the right reason, and that reason is to protect you and I. And you know what? When they pull me over because I broke the law. They don't pull me over because I'm driving a red Jeep. And it just seems so common now when a person is pulled over by the police, they become disrespectful and rude, and they pull out their cell phone camera. And I promise you, if you are courteous and respectful to those officers, they're going to be courteous and respectful back to you. So today, I want you to do one thing. I want you to be kinder than necessary. Be kinder than necessary, because everyone you meet is fighting some sort of battle. Be kinder than necessary. It's never the wrong time to do the right thing. And to be kind to others is one of the most important life lessons you could ever learn. Hope that you have a great Wednesday. If you have to think about it, it's wrong. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.